Streaming Rhythm. And there's something called auditory scene analysis. And from sensory hearing, this is the perceptual organization of sounds according to the sound sources that are producing them. The perception organization of sounds uh, according to the sound sources. Yes, we have some. Yes, and two types of grouping. You have simple, simultaneous, and sequential grouping. Yeah. Simultaneous grouping. That means that the brain needs to decide whether two components belong to the same source. Okay. And some cues, we have some temporal fluctuation. Components within the same onset time are more like to be grouped together. Yeah. Limitation, natural fluctuation are still perceived as fused. Yes. As components within the same onset time are more like to be grouped together. Components harmonically rated are likely to belong to the same source. Same onset time, harmonic also. Limitation, small inharmonicities or components with strong and similar temporal vibrations are fused. For instance, a bell. Spectral envelope, high amplitude peaks are likely to be segregated. Yeah, segregation, for instance, this segregation. Yes, Asket. And here we have some more this noisy. Spectrum. Yes. Okay. Localization. The first one was temporal. Temporal. Should I call temporal fluctuation? And the second one should be localization. Components from the same localization likely to belong to the same source. Two sources can be perceived as one, and one source can be perceived as two. Okay. Limitation. Proximities laws can affect localization cues. A sound presented to the left ear can be perceived on the right ear, and vice versa. Then we have musical stream. We have some called sequential grouping. We have some frequency here, and we have some time here. So we have some A. If the distance the difference is not too big, it can be it feels like integrated. Whereas time, if there's more frequency, should be a spectrum. If the distance is too big, they could be segregated. Yes, okay. And okay, streaming paradigms. If the frequency difference is big, then two streams, big difference, frequency, two streams, and here ether percept in the middle, and one stream if if the frequencies are difference is smaller. So the streaming boundaries also depend on the tempo. We have some figure here. Is frequency. Here's separation, semitones, and we have here what we call. We have here tempo. (20, 10 tones per second). 10, 5, 3, and here we have a tone repetition. This would be 100, 200, 350. It is time in milliseconds. So up here we have the tempo, tones per second, and we have down here the times per second. And we have some areas here, temporary boundary, I think it's called, segregation, over here, and here. Here is a current. Sammenhæng. So rhythm. There are some definitions. How to define what is music. Music is organized sound. Repetition. Like in visual domain, repetition will help unify different sensations and create a pleasant feeling on plant organization. Repetition also needed to help memorizing the theme and in order to understand its modulation variations when no recording system existed. Okay. So repetition is good. Rhythmic pattern. Pattern of time interval between notes. It's mostly dependent on time onset, relative time rather than absolute time. Simple ratios are easier to predict. Simple ratios easier to predict. Okay. And feel more rhythmical. Average of a temporal should be irregularity 20 milliseconds irregularity. So good drummer should be coding this. Tempo. What is tempo? Tempo Rhythm refers to relative time, whereas tempo absolute time. Tempo is the rate of pulsation or beat. And we remember beat as, see here, comes here. Come on! Beat is the basic unit of musical stress in time. Okay. Yes, the pulsation can be measured by asking people to tap along with the music. However, this can vary from one person to another. Pulsation could be considered subjective. Tempo discrimination. Some showed that normal hearing listeners can discriminate it accurately a tempo change at about 5%. Then we have a meter, hierarchical organization of beats. Organizations of beat. That could be 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, 5, 4, take 5. 7 for money, for example. That's called meter. Let's take meter versus rhythm. Meter versus rhythm is a meter can be seen as a fixed frame, meter fixed frame. And rhythm can in which the rhythm is played. The meter should be solid, while meter solid, while the rhythm can move around in order to induce emotions and so things like that. Our perception of rhythm is influenced by the degree to which it can be heard as belonging to a specific meter. Then we have some polyrhythm. It should be 3/4 and 4/4, and polymeter. It should be this is rhythm, and the polymeters it could be 3/4 and 5/4, like in the Zeppelin, or yeah, I think so. 4/4 and 5/4, and then we have multimeter, changing the meter within a song. Yeah. How do we feel it? We are the only primates in having complex and vocal learning. The same brain areas are involved in